Hi there, welcome to another episode of Bloodhouse, the show where we talk about art house horror movies. I'm your host, Joshua Conkle.
And I'm your co-hostess who took a second to announce herself because I was taking a sip of a sparkling water, Drusilla Adeline.
Literally every week you do that while I say Joshua Conkle.
Because I'm always confident I can get it in time. This time I did not. I'm a little behind the ball today.
I used to edit out the pause before you spoke because there always was one, and now I'm not doing that. They can hear that she's sipping. It's fine. How are you?
I have to lubricate my voice for the listeners.
Your instrument.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to lubricate the oboe. I'm good. I've been working crazy super duper extra hard of late. And I also threw a little birthday party for one of my best friends of the whole wide world, Ivory Woods, who is
John Waters themed,
a
right?
John Waters themed fondue party. All her
Amazing.
idea, mostly her decoration and putting together. I just let her use my house.
Yeah.
But it was so fun. We had cheese, vegetarian cheese, and chocolate fondue, an insane amount of pickles and olives and meatballs and stuff, an insane amount of alcohol, a lot of cocktails were made. I had invented a cocktail for Ivory that was inspired by the John Waters film Female Trouble months ago.
Best one, in my opinion.
Yes, called the Davenport. It's basically a very elevated and faggy iteration of a rum and coke.
Okay.
It's like a rum and coke with Chambord and lime juice, and orange Angostura bitters, and it should not work. It should be a hodgepodge of trash and faux fancy alcohols, but it works and it's fun, which is why it's the Don Davenport. Lot of those were consumed, a lot of wine. So I
loved your cockroach blazer, that sort of nod to Tracy Turnblad I saw on your Instagram. Great.
That was Ivory's idea. Everyone showed up in costume, more or less, as someone from a John Waters flick. We had two people showing up as John himself. My friend Ethan shaved his mustache down to just the essentials. But Ivory came up with that jacket idea because we were brainstorming things for that I could do. And I have a red fuchsia blazer, pink blazer in my closet that she was confident she could attach roaches to. And it looks incredible, and I'm never taking those off.
Yeah, I think I would come as John Waters. That would be the easiest thing for me because I own a lot of really funky suits and I have facial hair that I could easily trim into a pencil mustache. So that would probably be my play.
My pitch, though, would be for you to go to CVS and buy a $5 thing of spray-in hair coloring and do David Lockery.
David Lockery. I knew you were going to say that.
blue.
Well, when I had my hair bleached and it was longer, I could totally do David Lockery from Female Trouble.
You just need, or do David Lockery from Pink Flamingos and get a Vienna sausage and some twine and nothing else.
True.
But it was a great time, and a really, really, really good weekend. And we watched Desperate Living on VHS, which is one of the most underrated, in my opinion, Waters films.
Absolutely.
And one of my favorites.
Absolutely.
But then on Saturday, Sunday was Ivory's actual birthday, so we threw the party on Friday, and then we cleaned the house afterwards and watched horror movies at her behest all day on Saturday. And so I rewatched, she had never seen, the, again, underrated 80s slasher classic, Happy Birthday to Me.
Love that movie.
Which doesn't get nearly enough love. It is such a bonkers flick.
Poster, so good.
Poster is so good. The title treatment is so good. Everything about it is so good. The murders are so good. Yeah. The fact that it was directed by the guy who made To Kill a Mockingbird is so weird to me.
It's so funny and strange.
Yeah, but it's really well directed. It's great.
It is really well directed.
And Glenn Ford's incredibly drunk the whole film. And it has an insane twist that I just love so much. It feels very much in line with a Sergio Martino movie. But the really standout one of the day was a film I had never seen before. and it's really upsetting. I'd never seen it before, and you're going to be very shocked and surprised I'd never seen it before. And it's very appropriate considering what we're about to talk about with the rest of this episode. But we watched Lucky McKee's 2002 psychosexual classic May.
Oh, what a great movie.
How had I never seen May?
I don't know. It's great, though.
As
really great
a
movie.
James Duval stan alone.
I know. What's one of the most beautiful men who's ever lived.
That whole cast is just nothing but some of the most beautiful, interesting weirdos of the late 90s, early 2000s, all playing either goths, queers, or punks, or some combination of that. And it was incredible. I loved it so fucking much. May is a sweetheart. I hope her and Amy nothing but the best.
Yeah.
She finally
That's
found
a really
true love.
special movie.
Yeah. It's so strange to me that I'd never seen it before, and I'm really glad I was finally
I feel
able
like
to.
a lot of people haven't seen it before, though. It feels like it's still, I mean, it is a cult movie, like people do know it and love it, but it doesn't get the notice and admiration that it probably deserves. And I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's like the time that it came out being, I mean, 2002 is like a weird time, kind of, a kind of nothing time. It doesn't have any like gigantic stars in it, I guess. I don't know what it is that makes that.
And it doesn't have
so
a like, oh, shocker, death set piece of like, you won't be, you've got to see that scene. Oh my God. Like Cabin Fever had that.
Yeah.
And around that era, House of Thousand Corpses and stuff like that. It always got lumped in with Ginger Snaps.
Which is another movie I love.
Which is another incredible movie, and one that I've seen a million fucking times. And I don't know why May was available to me it was on, I think it's on Shudder now. Like, it's been, I just don't know why I never got around to it. I think I assumed it was more of a slasher movie. It's very much like a romantic comedy that takes a turn. And I, like, was aware that it had popped up on lists of like queer horror films, but I was assuming that was people leaning on subtext rather than it being a like almost like hardcore lesbian film. It was incredible, and I also have to give like double shout out to Jeanette Wall, the host of the Horrors of Love podcast. Who their first episode was on May. And it dropped very recently. But she reached out to me after our Picnic at Hanging Rock episode to point out that we grew up in the same hometown.
Carmel, Indiana.
She's from just outside of Carmel, but nonetheless, and she's, I think, a little bit older than me. But our paths more or less crossed multiple times in Indiana. And she was gobsmacked when I mentioned the Carmel Clay Public Library in that episode. And we talked for hours about having very, very, very similar experiences. And then the absolute kismet of that happening, and then her messaging me the day I was going to watch May for the first time. And her being like, check out my new podcast. I just did this first episode on May. It was like the stars aligned so beautifully. She's incredible. I listened to the episode after the fact. Her analysis of it is way beyond what I even got from the first read of the movie. Highly, highly, highly recommend. And I cannot wait for more episodes. I am such a big fan out the gate.
Yeah, she seems really cool. We started following each other after you mentioned messaging with her. You know, she lives in my old stomping grounds, Brooklyn. She is from Carmel, Indiana, where you are from, and my boyfriend is from. So she's aces in my book. I wonder if she knows my boyfriend Joel at all, because he's between our ages. So is she. Mm-hmm. So
possibly,
but possibly not.
Yeah,
and it doesn't matter.
We had a long talk about how like, oh my God, wouldn't it be so great had we known each other back when we were in Indiana? And then the realization of like, I have that conversation with a lot of people from Indy all the time, and it's that, oh, yeah, we never would have done that in Indy because we were all too afraid to come out or to be weirdos or to be, like, outwardly the people that we are now while we were in Indiana. It's not until we move out of that state do we become the people that then find each other. So
Yeah.
we could have had the exact same route every single day and never would have talked to each other out of like a mountain of fear and guilt. And that's just what the Midwest does to you. This is a public service announcement that Tennessee can fuck off into the ocean.
Tennessee can fuck off into outer space. Listener, if you don't know what we're talking about, Tennessee just signed the first drag ban in the United States.
But it's incredibly dangerous because it is vaguely worded intentionally to become an all-out trans ban on at its core. And that would make it illegal for a trans individual to be just existing in public in the state of Tennessee.
Which is unconstitutional on its face, of course, and yet we have this really corrupt conservative Supreme Court. So I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
There are other states, of course, that are trying to do similar things. So it's scary. It's a really scary time.
It's a bad time. It's a bad time. Speaking of bad times, how are you doing, Josh?
I'm okay. I just got back from Palm Springs. We booked this trip ages ago to like try to get out of the LA winter for some sunshine, and it was like freezing and raining in Palm Springs.
No.
To the point where I know. There's like a historic blizzard, quote unquote, hitting Los Angeles right now, listener. That's what we're talking about. We went to Joshua Tree to hike, but it was too cold to hike in Joshua Tree, which, if you don't know, is the Mojave Desert. And it was snowing. It started snowing when we were in Joshua Tree.
Jesus Christ.
So we're like standing around all these like cacti, and then like snowflakes are hitting our foreheads. It's super weird. But I'm all right. I mean, I watched some comfort things this week. Speaking of underrated directors, last night I watched, I know this is a movie, I think that you've said that you like this movie. This is one of the first horror movies I ever saw, and I haven't seen it in many years, but I needed a comfort movie last night because I was cold and sad, and so I watched, from 1985, House. Not House-u, the Japanese movie, but House, the horror comedy from the 80s starring William Catt and George Wendt.
The Sean S. Cunningham joint?
Yes, but it's directed by Steve Miner, right? Who was sort of a mentee of Sean S. Cunningham. He directed the best Friday the 13th movie, which is part 2. And he directed Lake Placid. He's pretty goated when like low budget horror comedies are the vibe. He's really, really good. I have this book called Master Shots, which just collects what it says, master shots from movies, and it explains the camera setup. So it's like sort of a filmmaking book. And there are 2 shots from Friday the 13th part 2 in there, because that has one of the best chase scenes of any slasher ever. So I don't know. I don't know why he didn't get more famous, or we don't talk about him more, but he was a really good journeyman director, and I really loved House. It's really fun and campy, and it's got practical monster effects, and what a blast.
This is me coming clean and being such a fake fan. I've never finished House.
Really?
Or House 2, the second story. Both films...
Well, House 2, the second story is something else entirely.
Both films I have started and been like, this is fun, I'm having a good time. And for some reason, turned off. And I don't remember... I think it was the Vietnam stuff that had me check out of House.
Yeah.
I need to give it a shot. I also, I don't know. The dude from Carrie was not holding me enough.
Oh,
William.
I like William Catt. Oh my God, he starred in this movie that I thought of it last night, and I Googled it to make sure that it was real and not a fever dream. But there's this 80s movie that he's the star of that I remember renting with my mom and watching on VHS in maybe like 1985 or 86. And it was called Baby: The Secret of the Lost Legend. And he plays a scientist who finds a baby brontosaurus in the South America jungle and is like trying to rescue it from whomever, I don't know, people with guns. But the baby dinosaur is like a mixture of claymation and like a puppet's head. But it was like a big budget movie, and I did not make it up. It was very much real. And he is the star of that. So there's a twofer. Watch House and then watch Baby Secret of the Lost Legend.
Jesus Christ. I'm just now looking at Steve Miner's output, and it is insane.
It's a mixed bag,
to say the least. I mean, he's done multiple Friday the 13th movies and a Halloween movie. He did H2O.
Yes. He did H2O, which is one of the best Halloween movies.
And it's like 60 minutes long, and that is correct.
Yeah.
He also directed some Diagnosis Murder and Psych. Like, but he also directed Soul Man.
Oh, no, did he?
He did, which, listeners, if you're not familiar with Soul Man, it is...
Oh my god.
The 1980... I can't believe we're talking about this for the podcast.
I can't believe I'm, like, propping this man up and he made Soul Man.
So, if you don't know what Soul Man is, get a vision in your head of what you think the title Soul Man is about, and now let me shatter it with a hammer. Soul Man is a 1980s comedy about a white man, white teenager, who does not get accepted into the college that he wants to. So, to get in... as a diversity on a diversity grant, he disguises himself in blackface, and that's the movie. And I guess hijinks ensue.
They do ensue. My face is beet red right now that I'm like gassing up the director of Soul Man, but his horror output is very good, and Soul Man is a movie that is lost to time.
We should also mention that it's C. Thomas Howell. C. Thomas Howell is the Soul Man, is the one in blackface the whole movie. But it's really unfortunate.
It was a different time.
It's also James Earl Jones and Ray Dong Chong. Like,
yeah,
it's a very unfortunate thing that happened. But goddamn, man, was it a big hit?
It was. I'm pretty sure I saw it in the theater, I have to say. It was a different time. We don't need to talk about it if we don't want to.
It's a cute oddity to get into from the director of House and Friday the 13th Part 2 and the writer of The Ellen Show and The Wonder Years, Soul Man.
Oh my god. Jesus, let's move on. Listen, there's some business to attend to. We said last week that this episode would be about Liquid Sky.
Indeed it is, and we're going to continue on it being that, right? Why would there be any difference? That's what listeners expect.
There was a change of plans. That episode is coming, but for reasons that are a little tedious that we don't need to get into, we're not doing that. And you know that because you clicked on this episode. This episode is about the fabulous 2022 prequel to X, directed by Ty West. It is Pearl.
Family during these times is admirable, but you only get one take at this life.
If only they would just die.
Pardon?
Nothing.
What a great movie.
What a great movie. Done. Episode over. All right, roll credits.
I mean, doing a movie like Pearl is a bit of, I don't know. I feel like I was at a party with a friend of both of ours, whose name I guess I shouldn't say, and she hosts a very popular movie podcast. And I was like, oh, you should do whatever movie. And she's like, oh, I would love to. But when we do movies that are like lesser known and older, we don't get very much listenership. And I was like, oh, interesting. It's never occurred to me not to cover a movie because no one's heard of it. And I feel like in a lot of ways on our show, like the opposite thing is true. Like we talk a lot about covering a movie that like if someone were to search for that movie in Spotify, or Apple, our podcast is going to be the only episode that they find on that movie. And I think that that's good and that's a service. But every once in a while, we have to throw a bone to the modern age and listeners who watch popular movies. And this is one of those. And I think that this counts as an art house movie because of the way it was made.
Very much so.
Because of Ty West, who is a true auteur in the horror space. And I still think that this is an art house horror movie. And it's a movie that I happen to love.
I adore this movie. And this movie feels like not a minor, but a true, like, miracle. Like, everything about this movie should not have been as incredible as it is.
Yeah.
Like, for a, like, produced or in lockdown, really quickly made, right off the back of an A24 produced, like, 70s slasher revival movie, that was basically all written while Mia Goth and Ty West were in like a 2-week quarantine after they traveled to the set for X, which was a requirement at the time. It is not anymore because the world is foolish, despite the fact that COVID numbers are still rising. Anyway, to get off that topic, it is such a little miracle. Like, that should not have happened. It is like nothing like X. You don't need to see X, but X's whole existence is why we have Pearl. X is a lovely, fine film.
I will say I like X a lot more because of Pearl.
Yes, I do too.
And I saw X opening night. I was really excited to see it. House of the Devil by Ty West is one of my favorite horror movies of all time. And I was like a little bit disappointed in X. I liked it like sort of 3 stars worth at the time. I like it more now. But I had heard that there was a trailer for Pearl, which was a surprise. Like the news had just broken that he had made a surprise sequel, like sort of as an add-on to the production of X. And that trailer was going to play after X. And so I was like, I felt like a little bit ambivalent about it because I was like, it feels like, I don't know, something about it just felt off and weird and bad and kind of indulgent. And then I saw the trailer for Pearl and I thought, it looks bad. It looks cheap. It looks thrown together. And so that's what I assumed it was. So unfortunately, I did not see Pearl in the theater. I rented it at home months after it had come out. And you had said on the show that you'd seen it and loved it. And I trust your taste. So I was like, okay, I guess I better watch Pearl. And I just loved it. It's a very different movie from X, but it does tie in some really interesting ways. There's the through line of pornography and how that sort of the art form of film has followed pornography the entire time it's existed. And they sort of inform one another in interesting ways. And both movies are talking about that. Both movies are talking about the idea of stardom and filmmaking itself. And I don't know. It's such a cool movie.
It's so incredible. And I feel like when I walked out of the theater, I texted you like, have you seen Pearl yet? Go see Pearl. It was so weird when X came out. I saw the trailer. I hadn't heard about the secret Pearl trailer at the end of X. I had not even heard about the possibility of a sequel or anything like that until after I saw X. But I remember at the top of last year, a lot of like mutual friends of ours in the like horror and queer spaces in LA were all talking about X and we're all very excited to go see it. And I was like, I don't care. Ty West is very good. I'm happy he's doing something again. I'm happy he's doing something with A24. That's righteous. That's rad. Good for him. A Texas Chainsaw, like, knock doesn't really feel like my bag right now. I'll see it eventually when it's on streaming or something, or at a party. Whatever, sure, fine. I don't need to see it. And everyone was saying mixed things about it. And I was like, whatever, I'll get around to it. And then my friend Ivory, that I mentioned at the top of the show, was like, X is one of the best movies of the year. Holy shit, as soon as X comes out, I'm going to buy it. And I was like, whoa, I haven't heard anyone be that, like, pro X before. That's, okay, all right, I'll check it out. and we watched it together at her place. It was well after it was out of theaters. And I had fun with it. I didn't think it was like, you know, revolutionary or even one of Ty's best movies, but I thought it was really good and really fun and like does what it says on the tin, right?
Yeah.
And then at the end of it, she was like, oh, they're doing another one. They wrote it and they filmed it like in the same production cycle and it's coming out really soon. And I was like, what? And I just started Googling it and I was like, oh, it's written by Mia Goth. It co-written by Mia Goth and Ty West. It was like part of her developing the backstory of the Pearl character for X doing the prep work. And they built this whole other movie around it that is like radically different. And I avoided all the marketing for it. I didn't see any trailers or anything. And then the day it came out, Ivory was like, we're going, right? And I was like, yeah, sure, fine, whatever. So we went to Burbank and I had like, again, no fucking expectations. I was a little like, all right, I didn't love X. And you're trying for Technicolor. We'll see. We'll give it a shot. And then all of 5 minutes in, my jaw was on the floor. Like,
Yeah.
I had such a good... I hadn't... Since seeing Pearl, I've been struggling to describe it to people, to, like, sell them on it, because there's not many other horror movies, or even just movies in general, like it. I feel like May and Possession are close, but different.
Yeah. Or like historical true crime, even though this is not true crime, this is fiction. It kind of has flashes of like Lizzie Borden's case.
Yeah, or like In Cold Blood a little bit.
Yeah.
The other, what I've been describing it to friends to kind of like cajole them to get in to see it. And this is for a very specific subset of friends that I know that watch these kinds of movies. I've been selling them as like, if you recall the like 60s, 70s hagsploitation movies of like Joan Crawford and Bette Davis, and Shelley Winters, all post Baby Jane, like Who Slew Auntie Roo and those kinds of movies. It's like one of those movies made in 2023, 2022, but starring a woman in her like late 20s, early 30s. Rather than a woman in her 60s. It is such a wild inversion and is doing so many different kinds of filmmaking at once, and they all work. It like ends in near psychedelia minutes after doing a like stage worthy monologue. It is
it's so good. I mean, one of the reasons that I didn't love X when I initially saw it was that, you know, so you have this murderer, this old lady murderer, Pearl, and watching the movie, I was like, I don't really know if I understand what this character is supposed to be or how she got like this, or like, it doesn't feel like this is an actual person that exists on Earth, which is okay. But I don't know. I felt something about it was like confusing to me. And the reason I like that movie more now is Pearl is such a clear movie. It's such a pure, simple, clear movie. And it's one of those examples of how, you know, necessity is the mother of invention, or limitations are the mother of invention, because they had some time. They spent 2 weeks writing this movie together. They took $1 million and using the same sets that they filmed X on, they made a little movie. And in some ways, this is like the throwaway movie that they made on the back of X, but I just think something special happened because of the limitations in production. This is a pandemic movie, and it's set in 1918 during the Spanish flu. So all of the characters are wearing masks and stuff. So it's like talking about the pandemic without actually talking about it head on in really clever ways. And it's such an impressive movie to me.
The production aspect of it is so fascinating, and there's so much to be said about that. And it reminds me of and some other films we've talked about in this podcast before, which are the Andy Warhol Frankenstein and Dracula movies, directed by Paul Morrissey. That was only supposed to be Warhol's Frankenstein, Flash for Frankenstein in 3D, filmed in Romania with Udo Kier and this cast, and Paul Morrissey shot it in less time than needed. There was additional budget and time, and they had the same sets, and so they were like, okay, let's do a Dracula movie. And in the same way, Dracula's better than his Frankenstein, the same way that Pearl is better than X. Just marginally, but it's because this crew has worked together, right, on a whole movie. We've sat and thought about the characters and our performances and how we want to tell these kinds of stories for a whole movie, and then roll straight into another one where you're just firing on all cylinders. It honestly reminds me of sometimes listeners, I'm about to break some of the illusion of the podcast.
I was just thinking this, Drusilla.
Sometimes Josh and I will record 2 episodes back to back with the illusion that they were made a week apart. And nearly every single time, the second one we've recorded is better. That we feel it is from our biased people making it thing perspective. But there's really something to be said for the warm up to something. Obviously, you don't want to be grinding yourself into the dirt and overworking your crews and your actors, but it's really a special magical thing, and it reminds me of the old Hollywood system that this movie is harkening back to, where people would roll from one movie right into the next, and a lot of the times it's the exact same crew. And the mother in Pearl, who has not gotten nearly enough praise for her performance.
She's so good.
Who is incredible. She was it a caterer on X?
Oh, I didn't know anything about that.
Or a voice coach?
I mean, she's a German. She's speaking German. Her character is German. I don't know if she is German or if she's just like a dialect coach or something. Maybe. So I would believe that she was a dialect coach.
No. She, her name is Tandy Wright. She was the intimacy coordinator. Oh. She was the one who helped properly stage the sex scenes for X, which is very important. She was offered the role of the mother when they wrapped X. She didn't speak a word of German beforehand.
Holy shit.
Right?
Her German dialect is good. I mean, I don't speak German, but her German dialect speaking English is very good. I'm not surprised. I mean, intimacy coordinators are usually actors. And this is like either a side gig that they do, or they've refocused their career to try to make a more regular living for themselves. So that aspect of it is not that surprising. But to hear that she didn't speak a word of German is really impressive to me.
Her also the fact that it's set on a rural farm, turn of the century, early 19 teens, and it's about a German family who's come over as immigrants with an American dream ideal, and about the first generation American children, is both something that I related to very heavily because that's what my family did. Around the same time, maybe a little bit later, we were German farmers who left Germany and came to Indiana, and that is my family's lineage. And look at me now, grandpapa. But not so a lot of the terms of endearment that are, and a lot of the relationship dynamics were super familiar to me. But then on top of that, it has a lot to say about American exceptionalism.
Yeah.
And the idea of the American dream. That Pearl has and none of them else have, because she's the girl who grew up in America.
She's American. Yeah. So, I mean, I guess synopsis-wise, really quick, this movie follows Pearl, who's a young woman in 1918, the middle of the Spanish flu. She lives on a farm with her parents. Her mother is a German immigrant, very, very strict. Her father is an invalid and is in a wheelchair and is immobile, so she has to help take care of him. She is married. She's a young woman. Her husband, Howard, is fighting in World War I, and she's very angry about him. And Pearl wants to be a star. She has big daydreams about being a dancer, being in pictures, all of that. But at the same time, you're starting to see a streak of sadism and sociopathy. I don't know that.
Sociopathy.
I can never say that word. Sociopathy, thank you, in her, which is is manifesting in really quickly, especially as people turn on her in various ways in her perception. And in that regard, I relate to it too. Like I was a rural kid who wanted very much to be a movie star or a pop star, which is such an immature way to feel, but I think about it all the time. I mean, it's not the same. But I still get sad because I feel like, oh, well, maybe I'm not special. Maybe I'm not doing better because I'm not special enough to be here doing this. So I still deal with those feelings. And I think
it's imposter syndrome. I feel like any creative deals with these things. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think queer people relate to it too. I mean, she's such a great character. She's so well fleshed out in this movie because you sympathize with her, especially for all the reasons that I've just said. Like, I've experienced that. I've been in a place where I came from a place that I didn't want to be from and wanted to leave. I had big dreams. But she starts to lose you when she's like sticking a pitchfork through a goose and feeding it to an alligator and stuff, torturing her. There's a great scene where she's in a bathtub and her dad is in this wheelchair next to her. And she starts pinching him because she knows that he can't move. And it's just like a small sadistic thing that gets under your skin. Mm-hmm. It's so good. I mean, I also loved... I've had so much coffee, so I feel like I'm talking a mile a minute. I'm just all over the place. So
welcome to my speed.
There's a great scene where she is like having this affair with a projectionist at the movie theater, and he drops her off home and is starting to see the state that she's living in and all of like the dark things that she's done, and he's getting scared. And it's just such a good scene because she's like a little girl showing him around the farm, like, this is my cow Mary, they're my best audiences, I love to dance. And she's like a child performing for him, and he's getting creeped out. And it's so relatable because I feel like everyone has had that experience where you're like, oh no, I just fucked a crazy person. And now I gotta get out of this situation somehow. It's just, you have a lot of scenes like that where someone realizes the situation they're in too late and they're like, how do I get out of here? And in those scenes, Mia Goth does such a good job of feeling both like a child and sweet and innocent, but also feeling like somebody who's really out of their mind and really dangerous.
She plays betrayal in this like no one else. That scene that you're talking about, the way that her face drops from like lovely, happy little girl to like a little like grumpy and wounded to her like full on, what did I do wrong speech?
Yeah.
Is so good. And that also mentions one of my favorite recurring aspects of this movie that is one of the best symbols this movie or any movie has ever used to get at this idea of this character, this kind of journey for a character, which is at one point, her sister-in-law, who's kind of her only friend, comes over, who's much more affluent than Pearl's family, comes over with her mother and drops off a pig, which has been roasted.
A roast pig.
On the doorstep for her mother and her family to partake, which is a very, very kind gesture, and one that Pearl's mother sees as being a little condescending.
Charity.
Yeah. That they do not take. They are good people who work the land. They do not need their charity. And so she tells Pearl to just leave it outside on the porch in front of the door, and there it stays for like the rest of the movie. And as the movie continues and as people come back to the farmhouse with Pearl and things have gotten a little less normal, the pig starts to rot, and every single time we check in on it, there's more flies around it, it's more decayed, there's more mold.
Maggots,
and then it finally gets brought into the house at the end for a truly spectacular scene. But my favorite moment in the entire movie is when her sister-in-law comes back to the house with her to console Pearl. And as she's coming inside, she notices it and just said, "Is that our pig?" It is so good, and it's such a good way of externalizing Pearl's emotions and mental state.
Mm-hmm.
It's truly phenomenal. I love it so much. We should also talk about Pearl's sexuality a little bit.
Sure.
And her sexual frustrations. Her husband is off to war. She's got this, like, such, like, idealized husband in Howard that we never really get to meet by the time that the film has started. And the way that he's talked about and by people other than her parents. And he is an affluent person who kind of, like, stepped out of his class to form a relationship with Pearl. It seems like she hit the jackpot, had this, you know, little skirmish in Germany, Pearl's family's home country, not cropped up, to pull him away from her.
Well, yeah, but it's not just that, because he comes from a wealthy family, but he met Pearl because he was working as their farmhand.
Mm-hmm.
So he, like, didn't like his parents, and he's sort of doing this petulant young man thing to, like, you know, sort of Jack Kerouac before Jack Kerouac fantasy of, like, I'm going to be a working man or whatever. And so, but Pearl knows, I mean, you know from her monologue later, she can tell that he's a different class than her. So when they get married and she goes home with him and sees how he grew up, she's like, what the fuck is wrong with you for leaving this behind? Do you know how lucky you are? How much people dream about this? And that is so beautiful and so relatable. And I mean, as somebody who grew up poor, I deal with that all the time. I have, like, so much, even as a 40-year-old, I have so much class anxiety because of where I am now and where I came from. And so that part of it is so relatable, that sort of class story.
And
Which is nothing to say about sex, sorry. That's sort of off tangent,
but it
I
is,
think.
but there's so much going on in this movie, and it all ties together so beautifully because it is there in her sexual frustrations. Because while she is married and she does have this idealized husband, he's not there.
Right.
And she's forced to have sexual fantasies about a scarecrow.
Yeah, she humps a scarecrow. Great scene.
And then immediately the guilt comes over her. And she, like, accuses the scarecrow of rape.
I know, she's like, I'm married, and screams at the scarecrow. It's so unhinged. But then humps it.
Yeah.
And dry humps it anyway.
Yeah. She's fulfilling her fantasies. And then, as we mentioned, she has a bit of a fling with the town projectionist, who is, you know, a bit of a skeevy individual, but, like,
Yeah.
you know,
He's an aspiring pornographer.
who could say they weren't in that era?
Like I said earlier, I didn't understand the character Pearl in X very well, and the sexuality aspect of it was part of it. And some of it I don't think is the flaw of the movie. Some of it I think is me and my stuff, because I'm sensitive about aging. So there was a part of me that was, like, a little bit bummed that X was like, oh, old people being horny is funny and gross and scary. And that might be unfair to the movie. I haven't seen it again. But here, her sexuality makes a lot more sense to me because it's part of the fantasy, right? Like, her whole fantasy is to go somewhere else and be a movie star. So being a seductress is very wrapped in to that, and manipulating people through beauty and through sexuality and sensuality. That's all part of it too. So here it makes a lot more sense to me as a tactic and a fantasy.
But it's also, but she is in the state of arrested development, so she's not this empowered, like, vixen vamp sex goddess.
No, it's like a little girl playing at being Marlena Dietrich or something.
It's really, really, really curious. And again, like, looking back to May or Baby Jane, it's right in line with what we see from Bette Davis. I will say, the performance that Mia Goth gives in this, I have not seen a performance of this caliber since Jenna Rollins in A Woman in the Influence or Isabella Gianni in Possession. Like, this is another level.
I know that you don't like this movie and don't agree, but I would just throw Toni Collette and Hereditary in there.
I like Hereditary. It's fine.
Lupita Nyong'o in Us. I mean, like, really great. It's up there with, like, the really wonderful horror women performances.
I think it's better than either of those performances put together. I think those are incredible performances, but I think this is, like, a different stratosphere.
I mean, there's a scene where she gives a monologue that's really long and it's all done in one take and it's so beautiful.
Heartbreaking.
And people are amazed by it, and people should be amazed by it because she's so good. But on a technical level, I'm like, you know, have you ever seen a play? You know, I just feel like people are so used to watching films that it's like this seems like a marvel to them, and it's sort of like, no, you just have to memorize the monologue and then act it and then put a camera in one place. But that's not actually me.
But it's the
just such a good
confidence.
choice.
It's exactly.
Yeah.
It's the confidence of taking what audiences are expecting to be it's a sequel to a slasher movie. It's not a slash, but like it's a horror film, and taking the time out of a horror movie at the climax to do a long one-er stage-worthy monologue like that is unfucking heard of, unless you're like Zulawski.
Well, I mean, it's part of Mia Goth, right? Like, she co-wrote this and is the star of it, and the circumstances of making this are what they were. And so I feel like she was like, well, if I'm going to do this, then I'm going to really take this opportunity to do something special and to, like, really prove myself. And kudos to her. She really does. I mean, the writing is great. The acting is great. It's a great movie, and she's great in it. It's like a true star vehicle for her.
Oh, beyond. The trust and confidence between her and Ty West is like exuding through this whole movie, because they're both trying things they've never done before, and they're both supporting one another in every single move they make, and it makes it for such an incredible movie. I want to also mention that the time at which Pearl is set, the location at which Pearl is set, which would be, you know, 1910s Texas rural farm, and a girl who wants to run off and be a dancer in the flickers, go off and be in the movies, is like eerily similar to the pre-stardom life of Joan Crawford.
Oh, interesting.
Who was also a very famously sexually frustrated, we'll say, woman, and queer woman.
Queer.
And also, as we've learned with time, a not entirely, like, kind and empathetic woman.
No.
A woman who I love so much. I love Joan Crawford so much.
Such an understatement.
But the streak of sadism could be paralleled if you want to see it that way. And so the way that this movie is both formally in step with Straight Jacket and Baby Jane and movies like that, while also being metatextually connected to the life of Joan Crawford, whether intentionally or not, is really eerie and weird and fascinating. And I kind of love that a lot about it. This feels like the kind of movie that, I know we're not playing that game just yet, but had Joan Crawford, like, seen this movie from the theater in hell, I feel like she would have both, like, loved it, had a great time, and been, like, sick with jealousy.
Yeah.
Oh my god. First of all, I know for a fact there's movie theaters in hell. And additionally, I know they screened Pearl there, and I know that Joan is watching it on repeat.
But if you're in hell, you'd have to watch movies you'd have to watch bad movies. You'd have to watch, like, Patch Adams or whatever. Forrest Gump.
Maybe. But I feel like all the people that quote-unquote would go to hell, and all the people that would quote-unquote go to heaven would be the one that would suck, and they're showing Patch Adams up there or something.
Yeah. So this movie aesthetically is aping old Hollywood and the Technicolor process. It does it with the color palette, which is very saturated, and the colors they chose for costumes and sets. It's very 1940s classic Hollywood. A lot of it really looks like the Kansas scenes from Wizard of Oz. You know, you've got the fields, you've got the bicycle and the dress. One of the criticisms that I've seen at this movie is that the movie is set in 1919, but is using the aesthetic of the 1940s. And those two things don't have anything to do with one another, which I think is a fair criticism, except that I just don't care, because so much of of classic Hollywood was nostalgia laced, and they were setting movies in the past. And I don't know, it just sort of doesn't matter to me.
It doesn't matter to me either. Again, like well, it's also not disconnected because yes, this is the 19 teens. And if we really wanted to go whole hog into that, this would be black and white and silent and shot in a 1:1, not 1:3:3 aspect ratio and all that stuff.
Which it almost was, by the way. There was a consideration to do like German expressionism, black and white film here, but
would have been awesome, and I would love to see that version. If Ty West wants to recut this movie in a tighter aspect ratio and stick it in black and white, I will be first in line to go see it. But like the choice to stick it in aesthetically in the 40s is not a coincidence. Like we mentioned, a lot of movies in the 1940s were obsessed with that era, the 1800s.
Like Wizard of Oz. Wizard of Oz is not set in the 40s. It's a nostalgia piece, which people watching it today don't know because they're too young to know the differences aesthetically between those eras. But that was like a retro look.
Exactly. Along with like Magnificent Ambersons and a lot of these big Hollywood films of that era. But additionally, the similarity between those two times is the wars.
Yes.
We had World War II and World War I being cross-compared. Yeah. And we weren't making World War I movies at the time because we were too busy making World War II movies. And not that many Technicolor movies were made in the 40s. A handful of spectacle ones. Wizard of Oz was made in the 30s, along with Gone with the Wind. And the 1950s is probably maybe a little bit closer to what we're doing in Pearl, but it's also like it is both. I see it less as like we're making this movie look like movies of that time looked, which is just wrong. It's flat out wrong. It's not what the movie looks like. It's not what the movie's trying to do. Yeah. It's making it look like how Pearl sees the world.
Yes, I think that's a good point.
And Pearl had never seen a Technicolor movie, but I feel like that is how she views the world. And you know what? When she finally goes into town in 15, 20 years to go see The Wizard of Oz or something like that, she's going to have a great time. And she's going to say that that's what reality looks like. And she would be right.
Yeah. You're so smart. That's exactly it. Yeah. Well, listen, this movie is incredible. We recommend it. If you're listening to this, I'm sure you've seen it. Who hasn't seen this that would be listening to this podcast? But we hope you love it as much as I do. Let's move on and play our favorite game, Have They Seen It? The game where we speculate wildly whether or not notable figures have seen this film. This movie stars Mia Goth, who is also in the remake of Suspiria, which we've also covered. Mm-hmm. Do you think that Suspiria director Luca, how do you say his name? Luca
Guadagnino?
Yes.
It's the best I can do.
Do you think that he saw Pearl? Director of Call Me By Your Name and Suspiria 2018.
I'm going to say no.
Yeah,
but because I feel like he doesn't really stay up to date and watch tons of stuff. Mm-hmm. But I feel like he would enjoy. I feel like he would enjoy it. I feel like he would look at it and be like, "Yep, I knew Mia could give that kind of performance. Good for her." I can't see him revisiting it a lot, and I can't see him having already seen it. But I feel like he would enjoy it.
I think Dakota Johnson would like this and has seen this.
Mm-hmm. Oh my god. So we have empirical evidence that Martin Scorsese has seen and loved Pearl. So that's not even a question.
Always the best.
A man of many tastes, a man who is never wrong. And one of the things that he's never wrong about is something that the internet is very mad at him about. Is a few years ago, he said derogatory things. Not even that derogatory. He just said that Marvel movies are like roller coaster rides and not cinema. And he's correct.
He's correct.
Objectively so. And that got him in a lot of hot water with idiots on the internet. And if you disagree, then I think you should take a look in the idiot mirror. So, anyway, I'm making fun of you specifically, listener, who believes that one thing. However, Marvel, of course, is a whole corporation. Those movies are funded and produced by the Walt Disney Corporation. And they always have a different rotating door of directors. But if there ever was a singular human auteur of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, to use their own parlance, it would be their executive producer, Kevin Feige.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Kevin Feige has seen Pearl?
So I've never seen any Marvel movies, I don't believe.
Congratulations.
But I do know, thank you very much. I'm a Gold Star Art House fan. I do know a little bit about Kevin Feige by reading the trades and listening to The Business with Kim Masters, which he's been a guest on many times. He seems like a really smart and sophisticated person. So I would say, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he saw it in the theater. I think he rented it on streaming. But that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
He did see it. I think he saw this and I think he liked it.
Yeah, I feel like he's probably seen this. I feel like he got an award screener from A24.
Oh, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
I feel like that's how we saw it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, you mentioning Scorsese made me think of another titan of cinema. This is a person who just made a sequel to one of their most famous movies, like 40 or 50 years later. We know that this person produced Eraserhead, and has like really cool taste that surprises people when they find out. Do you think Mel Brooks has seen Pearl?
I will give a quick edit that Mel Brooks did not produce Eraserhead, but he did produce The Elephant Man.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
I knew some.
But he does love
Anyway.
Eraserhead. He fucking adores that movie,
Yeah.
which, of course. I hope he has. I feel like he got it on rental on VOD
Mm-hmm.
at home now that he doesn't have Carl Reiner to watch movies with, unfortunately. R.I.P.
Yeah.
But I feel like he watched Pearl, and I feel like he laughed his ass off. Because Pearl is,
Yeah, he would like it.
like, objectively and intentionally a funny movie at many parts. And Mel is famously a horror fan. I mean, he's a Cronenberg fan and a Lynch fan. He produced both of the David's biggest commercial hits in the 80s. And he has just impeccable fucking taste. Truly impeccable fucking taste. So I think he's definitely seen Pearl, and I think Mel Brooks is a Pearl stan.
I think so too.
So as we are currently in award season, Pearl is getting a lot of discussion as being a film that was snubbed. Because Mia Goth's performance is fucking incredible and deserves Academy recognition. And the Academy's social media platforms have been posting about Pearl for months to get engagement. However, the voting members of the body did not vote for Pearl.
Right.
As is the case with many a genre film. As was the case with Toni Collette and Lupita Nyong'o and so on and so on and so on. However, there is a legendary horror actress in awards consideration this year, and who is nominated for an Oscar this year. Do you think screen icon and mother of all, Jamie Lee Curtis, has seen Pearl?
No. And because she has said on many occasions that she doesn't like horror movies.
This is
She
true.
doesn't like watching them. So I would say no. I mean, I'm sure she would admire Mia Goth's performance if she did see it. She's an actress who's really supported the careers of other women. It was so nice to see her kiss Michelle Yeoh on the lips at the SAG Awards. So it's not because she's not cool or anything like that. I just think she doesn't like horror movies, and so hasn't seen it.
I feel like you're probably right. However, I feel like she definitely got an award screener for it. And there's been enough buzz about Mia Goth's performance that she may have dipped her toe in it that way. I also know that she's very, very connected to her trans daughter, who is absolutely has seen Pearl. So she may have gotten her to see it. Though I will say, with entire speculative confidence, based on no evidence whatsoever, that her husband
That's what the game is.
and comedy icon Christopher Guest has 100% seen Pearl.
That I feel intuitively is true.
I feel
Based
it in
on
my
no evidence.
bones that Christopher Guest has seen Pearl.
I keep meaning to do this and I forget, but before I forget, I want to shout out my friend and listener Andrew, who reached out to us to say that Beth Ditto of The Gossip has in fact seen Let the Right One In because he saw it with her at the movie theater in the year 2008. So if you ever can confirm in either direction, have you seen it? Please do reach out and let us know, and we'll say it on the podcast because this is the work. This is the important
This is
work.
the
It's
work. Time will march on. The mountains will crumble. The books will burn. But these
are the
have the
questions that
celebrities
remain.
seen these films? These are the questions that we need to know.
Anyway, I think that's it for this episode of Bloodhouse. Thank you so much for listening. If you liked this, please rate it wherever you listen to podcasts. You can email us at bloodhousepod@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at bloodhousepod. Drusilla, where are you?
My art and myself and my personhood are over at sisterhidedesign.com. There's fresh shit up there. Josh has a new short film
Thank you so
that
much.
I did a lovely little poster for. That's up there. I just have a new poster for the Woody Harrelson, Cheech Marin, Caitlin Olsen starring basketball coming of age film Champions, illustrated by the absolute legend and GOAT Phil Roberts, and the Criterion cover for Targets. And there are a whole lot more incoming in the next few days, let alone in the coming months and weeks. So go over there, check all that out. It's being updated more now than it has been in quite a while. It's a lot to see. I'm also on Instagram at Hyde Sister, just the inversion of my Sister Hyde brand. And then I'm also on Letterboxd, as every hipster cinephile, of course, is. Why would I not? It's just Drusilla Adeline over there. Josh, you're on Letterboxd, I assume.
I am. I can't believe I forgot to mention that. I'm at Joshua Conkle on Letterboxd. Listener, the episode on Liquid Sky is coming, but not for a moment. So what are we watching next week?
Next week, we're watching Liquid... No, we're not watching Liquid Sky. We are watching a film of artistic merit. We are watching a film from maybe the snootiest country of film producers. We are going to France. We're going to be reading subtitles. It's going to be in black and fucking white. It's from the 1950s. Oh my god, I'm getting so turned on just thinking about it. And there is surgical medical gore. And even better than that, to finish the Ed McMahon meme of level of excitement that I am for this movie, it was later homaged in a Billy Idol song. That's right! We are watching Georges Franju's Eyes Without a Face.
Les yeux sans visage. Ooh la la, can't wait. Bye. Au revoir.